Welcome, everyone. Today we are diving into one of the most exciting and evolving frontiers in mineral exploration, gold in Ontario. The title of this talk is Refining Strategies with Modern Technologies and Historical Insight. And that's exactly what we are here to do. Ontario has a long, proud legacy of gold discoveries, stretching back over a century. But what makes this moment different is how fast the exploration toolkit is evolving. New technologies like artificial intelligence, geochemical analysis, uh, drone-borne geophysics, and deep three-dimensional modeling are giving us an entirely new lens. They are helping us revisit old camps with fresh eyes and target unexplored ground with more confidence than ever before. In this talk, I will walk you through how gold exploration in Ontario has evolved, how we can bring together geological models, geophysical advances, and geochemical data into one integrated strategy, and most importantly, how to turn that strategy into the real results. Whether you're a geologist, an executive, an investor, the goal here is to sharpen your decision making and improve the odds of discovery in one of the world's best gold jurisdictions. Ontario's Archean Greenstone Belt are among the most prolific gold producing regions on the planet. The Abitibi Greenstone Belt alone has yielded over 6,000 tons, or roughly 196 million ounces of gold to date. Iconic camps like the Timmins Porcupine, with over 60 million ounces since 1909, or Kirkland Lake, Red Lake, with more than 19 million ounces since the 1930s, and Hemlo, which added nearly 20 million ounces after its 1982 discovery. All of these all cemented Ontario's status as a top-tier gold provinces. But while the province still holds tremendous potential, the pace of new discoveries has clearly slowed in recent decades. And much of the easy-to-find gold has already been mined or drilled. That's why there is growing need to rethink how we explore by refining our strategies and applying innovative tools to uncover the next generation of deposits, and whether they are under cover, at depths, or in places we once overlooked. This talk offers a comprehensive overview of current and emerging exploration strategies tailored specifically to Ontario's geological setting. It draws on insight from academic research, industry case studies, and governmental data, bringing all together practical techniques from across geology, geophysics, and geochemistry. And we will also look at the real-world examples from Ontario's major gold camps, what's worked, what hasn't, and how those lessons can guide for future discoveries. The key themes we'll cover here is geological targeting, which is understanding where gold forms and why using structural and stratigraphic models, geophysical innovations from traditional magnetic to modern tools like TDM and seismic profiling, geochemical and remote sensing methods using pathfinders, alteration halos, and even drone-based tools to expand the footprints of what we can detect. And then case study insights we'll go through legendary camps like Red Lake and Hemlo to new discoveries in underexplored belts. And then finally, the strategic recommendation, which is tailored to technical teams, executives, and investors. So each stakeholders can play a role in discovery. So we'll offer some strategic recommendation at the end. And this is about turning knowledge into action and updating how we explore so we can unlock Ontario's next wave of gold. Let's just start with geological targeting. This is still the foundation of any successful gold exploration program. In Ontario, most large gold deposits are structurally controlled orogenic systems, and they tend to form along major deformation zones like Porcupine-Dexter or Larder Lake, Cadillac Faults. These are regional scale structures. These are acted as long-lived fluid conduits. What we have learned from both research and exploration is that it's not just the presence of a fault that matters. It's how that structure behaves. Key indicators include bends, jogs, or splays in the fault, and zones of competency contrast where hard and soft rocks meet. And these are locations where strain localized, permeability increases, and fluids can pool and deposit gold. Importantly, the search space is expanding. Exploration models are no longer limited to classic shear-hosted veins, and there is growing recognition of volcanic systems and intrusion-related golds, especially in the belts like Wawa and Western Wabigoon. We'll talk about that later. And these models reflect the geological diversity of Ontario's gold camps, and they are helping explorers target deposits in areas that were once overlooked. Okay, so geological targeting today is about combining first principles, structures, stratigraphy, and rock mechanics with a broader perspective on deposit style. And that sets the stage for integrating geophysics and geochemistry in the next steps of the process. Geophysics plays a critical role in gold exploration across Ontario, especially in areas where outcrop is scarce due to the glacial cover and dense forest. High-resolution airborne surveys, particularly the magnetic and electromagnetics, have been instrumental in mapping greenstone belts and tracing regional structures. Many of these data sets were generated through public-private partnerships with government funding, helping to build a strong foundation of baseline data. But what's exciting now is how newer technologies are refining what we can detect. Techniques like helicopter-borne time domain EM or WITI-EM and airborne inductive IP are offering subtle but valuable signals. And these tools can pick up on weakly conductive or chargeable zones associated with disseminated sulfides, often the halo around the gold mineralization. One key insight is that many Archean gold systems don't sit on the top of the strongest EM conductors. And those high signals often reflect barren pyrrhotite or graphite. Instead, gold often occurs in resistive zones or on the flanks of moderate conductors, places that would have been overlooked in a traditional mindset. This has shifted how we interpret geophysical data. It's no longer about chasing the highest amplitude anomaly. Instead, we need to understand the geological context. What's the magnetic fabric telling us about structure? Are the chargeable zones aligned with shear corridors? Could a weak conductor mark disseminated sulfides rather than massive ones? Other innovations are also gaining grounds. Drone mounted magnetometers or EM systems are now being used for ultra high resolution surveys over specific targets, ideal for junior companies on a budget. Seismic reflection and gravity surveys are also being tested in hard rock terranes to image deeper structures. Still experimental in Ontario, but with growing potential for deep targeting. So the takeaway is here is that modern geophysics, when interpreted in the context and combined across methods, is no longer just about seeing through cover. It's about listening for the subtle echoes of gold. Geochemical exploration has been a powerful tool in Ontario, especially in glaciated terrain where direct bedrock exposure is limited. Over the years, it's proven highly effective in detecting the buried gold system, often well before drilling begins. Pathfinder elements and alteration indices are central to this approach. In the Red Lake camp, for example, elevated gold value alongside arsenic and antimony, both in soils and rock, have consistently pointed to mineralized zones. These geochemical anomalies often coincide with iron carbonate alteration, which forms broad halos around gold deposits. Till and soil sampling programs also have been especially impactful by tracing dispersal trains of gold and other indicators down ice. Explorers have been able to vector back toward the source. The Broughton Lake discovery is a great example, a blind deposit found beneath thick till using homosoil anomalies alone. In lithochemistry, whole rock analysis can reveal alteration halos even when gold grades are low. In Timmins, for example, gold-bearing intrusions are often sodium depleted or potassium altered, showing elevated potassium, rubidium, and cesium, and low sodium. These patterns reflect hydrothermal fluid interaction and can help vector explorer toward the mineralized center. Remote sensing, while limited in Ontario due to the dense vegetation, is still useful in targeting applications. Tools like hyperspectral core imaging and the portable XRF analyzer are now commonly used to rapidly assess alteration minerals in the field or in a core shag and allow for real-time decisions on where to focus drilling or sampling. Perhaps most transformative is the integration of all this geochemical data through advanced analytics. GIS-based prospectivity modeling is already in use, and machine learning is now being applied to large, complex data sets. One early example comes from a 2007 study in Red Lake, where weighted evidence modeling in GIS not only validated known trends, but also identified new, previously overlooked targets. Today's computational power takes that's a step further. A machine learning algorithm can now scan massive data sets and highlight subtle multivariate patterns that a human interpreter might miss. In short, geochemistry is no longer just a supporting tool, it's a frontline method for targeting buried systems, especially when combined with data integration and real-world real-time field technologies. Ontario's exploration history is full of lessons, both from its earliest discoveries and from more recent breakthroughs. In the early 90s, prospectors made major finds simply by following quartz vein at surface. The 1909 gold rush in Timmins, which is a classic example of boots underground prospecting in exposed greenstone belt, led to some Canada's most iconic gold camps. But as those near-surface high-grade zones were mined out, the game changed. Deeper covered and more subtle deposits require a different approach. One of the turning points was the discovery of Hemlo in 1982. For decades, geologists have explored that area with no major success, but a few persistent teams followed up on a weak geochemical anomalies, essentially a subtle arsenic signals, and hit what would become a 20 million ounce deposit. Hemlo proved that data, patience, and belief in the model could pay off even after years of discouraging results. Another example is in Red Lake. The exploration continued incrementally throughout the 20th century. Then in mid-90s, Goldcorp geologists drilled very deep, well below the known workings, and discovered the high-grade zone, an ultra-rich vein system that revived the entire camp. That success sparked a new wave of deep drilling across other mature camps and showed the value of thinking vertically, not just laterally. Fast forward to 2017, and we have the Dixie discovery by Great Bear Resources, one of Ontario's most exciting modern success histories. Instead of sticking to known trends, they stepped out and tested a crustal scale fault off the main Red Lake corridor. And they applied structural geology, systematic drilling, and strong geochemical targeting, and outlined nearly 5 million ounces of gold. And it was a reminder that even in mature districts, there's room for bold ideas. Another standout is Detour Lake in the northern Abitibi, and that discovery was made possible by government-supported science, regional mapping, geochronology, and airborne geophysics, which outlined the Thunder Lake deformation zone and a key marker unit, Chert Iron Formation. And this led to the eventual definition of a 25 million ounces of deposit, gold deposit, proving how public geoscience can directly enable major private sector discoveries. So here the takeaway here is that the case studies all point to the same core message. Major discoveries don't just come from luck. They come from combining the right data, the right interpretation, and the courage to test new ideas, even in area we thought we already knew. Whether it's deep drilling, testing geochemical halos, or stepping into underexplored structural setting, Ontario continues to deliver discoveries to those who push beyond the obvious. So based on what I discussed, there are some recommendations for technical exploration teams. Success today requires a fully integrated approach. Start with strong structural and stratigraphic models, use detailed field mapping, and build three-dimensional geological interpretation early on. Combine that with modern tools, airborne EM, ground IP, and systematic geochemical surveys. Even in overburdened terranes, pathfinder elements in soils or tills can point to hidden systems. Make data integration a core part of your workflow. Tools like GIS and machine learning allow you to rank and prioritize targets based on multiple criteria: structure, host rock, alteration, geophysics. If a target checks several of those boxes, it's likely worth a closer look. And finally, never stop learning, keep up with academic research, and look for ways to apply it in the field, whether that's new isotopic data, new methods, mineral chemistry tools, or paragenetic models. These can help you refine exploration models in real time. For corporate executives, invest in innovation strategically, budget not just for drilling, but for better data, high resolution surveys, expert interpretations, and new technology that give your team an edge. So success stories like Great Bear or Detour didn't happen by playing it safe. They happened because leadership backed bold ideas, including stepping into underexplored area with strong technical models. So we need to encourage that mindset within the organizations and make room in the budget for greenfield work, even during downturns. And don't overlook near mine opportunities, down plunge extension, deep IP targets, or reinterpreted core from historic drilling can be important. Some of the biggest discoveries in Timmins and Red Lakes come from looking deeper or looking again. And we should maintain a balance in a project pipeline, brownfields for steady growth, greenfields for potential breakthroughs. And this keeps the company resilient and discovery ready. And the investors, exploration is high risk, but Ontario continues to reward those with patience, discipline, and a focus on fundamentals. Don't just chase headlines. Look for companies with sound geological strategies, strong technical teams, and commitment to using modern tools, whether that's deep sensing geophysics, multi-element geochemistry, or advanced modeling. Ontario is still delivering multi-million ounces discoveries. Detour in 2010, Dixie's in 2017 to 2019. That tells us the province is far more mined. But finding the next generation of deposits will take sophisticated techniques and sustain financial support. So the investors that understand the exploration timeline and back companies with smart strategies are best positioned to capture the upside when discovery happens. In summary, Ontario's geological legacy presents both a tremendous opportunity and a growing challenge. There is no question the gold is still there, but the easy ounces near surface has been largely been found. The next generation of discoveries will require a smarter, more integrated approach, one that combines deep geological insights with the latest technology in exploration. By applying advanced geophysical methods, comprehensive geochemical screening, and modern data integration from GIS models to machine learning, exploration teams can now target deposits that were previously invisible. And by studying the province's past discoveries from Hemlo to Red Lake to Dixie, we gain powerful lessons that can guide us to the next step. So I've prepared a series of video. In the next three videos, we go deeper into the scientific findings that support these recommendations.